Well, we can go ahead and get started. So let me just welcome everybody to this morning's session. I hope you're enjoying the conference thus far. And wish you a great rest of your conference. My name is Cliff Archey. I am a Senior Program Manager of Education with IBM's Corporate Social Responsibility. And I'm here today to talk about IBM SkillsBuild for students. So IBM SkillsBuild for students is a digital learning platform that is free for any educator and their students to use. It is really trying to help prepare students of today for the workforce of tomorrow. And just to set a bit of context for the platform and for why we've built this at IBM, there's study after study that just shows technology is changing the way work functions and changing all industries. By 2022, very much around the corner, World Economic Forum projects that nearly half of all jobs are going to require skills that are not traditionally taught in an academic setting in K-12. So things like design thinking, agile project management, complex problem solving. Those are things that are crucial to not just the future of work, but workforce of today. And too frequently, tech is changing much faster than education and the ecosystem of education can keep pace with. So we created this platform, and others have as well. Don't want to sound like we're, the only ones doing this work, but we created this free platform to help students really get the skills, not just the degrees, the skills that they need to be employable and to navigate today's economy. And so our internal term for this is new collar jobs that, sure, if you get a college degree, that's great. But the most important currency is the fact that you need skills that companies are going to value. And by the way, these are not just tech companies, these are all companies. So we have a number of different programs that are aimed at that in corporate social responsibility. If you've heard of PTech, Pathways in Technology, Early College, High School, it's a mouthful, but that is our legacy 10-year brick and mortar high school redesign model that really introduces students to industry, to workplace mentors, and also equips them with a free associate in applied sciences degree. That really infused our platform strategy, which right now is two forms. It's IBM SkillsBuild for Students, which is focused on the high school audience and teachers. So really exploring and exposing students to tech careers, to the skills that we know are valued across different industries, and helping them open up new doors that perhaps they didn't know they were interested in before. SkillsBuild for Job Seekers is our adult-facing platform that actually connects adults to those jobs and gives them project-based learning opportunities to practice the skills that we know companies are hiring for. And the goal ultimately is that this progression will lead to a more diverse pipeline into not only our company at IBM, but all tech companies, and really help students from underserved backgrounds get the skills and exposure that they need to industry to actually get into the job market when they're done with their secondary education. So one thing to note is that if you sign on to the platform that I'm going to show you in more detail today, it will currently be branded as Open PTech. That is the current name of the platform. That's been the name since we've launched in March of 2020. It is changing to IBM SkillsBuild for Students as of July 7th. So just to avoid any confusion, Open PTech is what I'm going to be demoing today, but in the very near future, if you're watching this on playback, as of July 7th, it is IBM SkillsBuild for Students. The mission is the same, the content is the same, the accessibility is the same. It's merely a rebrand to unify our programs under one IBM SkillsBuild umbrella. But the important piece is that we are trying to jumpstart the career exploration of all students, and especially those from underserved backgrounds, so that they can get access to long-term career opportunities, and ones that have pipelines that perhaps they would not otherwise be able to access were it not for this program and this platform. And so we are really focusing on a number of different things on this platform. We're trying to give students the professional skills that they need, as I mentioned, across all industries, and that we know are very in demand for all employers. So things like collaboration, complex problem solving, project management, computational thinking, etc. Foundational tech skills in emerging technologies like AI. AI is a very complicated and ubiquitous topic. It is not one that you don't need to know about if you don't want to be a software engineer or a machine learning engineer. It is something that is touching all of our lives and has strong ethical implications for how we navigate society and how we consume technology moving forward. And so our philosophy is that everybody should have exposure to these particular topics. And so we're coming in at a very introductory level, introducing students to AI, cloud, blockchain, data science, quantum computing, etc. And we're giving students the opportunity to earn digital badges on those particular topics as early as age 13. So these are really good ways to build a student's professional portfolios before they actually have any real work experience. They can add these digital credentials to their IBM or to their LinkedIn profiles. They can add it to their resumes. They can put it on college applications. So very flexible. And once you've earned those credentials, they are yours to keep. So you can decide what you want to do with them. And this content is not specific to any one product. It is absolutely product agnostic. It's also not just taking IBM content and putting a student stamp on it and hoping that 14-year-olds can access it. We've taken a lot of this complex content and we've actually modified it for a high school user so that it really is engaging and it is accessible to those particular students. So more about just who we're serving. We're serving students who are preparing for their first meaningful work experience, students or teachers who are participating in STEAM learning. This could be in the form of after-school programs, summer camps, which is very relevant to the current day that we're giving this presentation, dealing with career preparation. So students who may be wanting to go directly into the workforce after their secondary education is over, or who want to access internship, apprenticeship opportunities while they're pursuing higher education. And then, of course, teachers and youth development professionals and education program providers oftentimes are the decision makers that actually put tools in front of students. And so we are actively, presenting in forums like this to make as many people aware of the free resources that we have on the platform and the grab and go nature of those resources to really plug into career exploration and exposure for students. So we know there's a lot of digital platforms out there, particularly since the pandemic started. I touched on a little bit of this already, but I think the important things to highlight are this is about introductions to the technical and workplace skills that we know matter across the board. If you are a student who's coming in at 14 and you have never thought about a technology career, OpenPTech and SkillsBuild for Students is for you. If you are somebody who knows you want to be a machine learning engineer, you love AI, you're fascinated by the algorithms, OpenPTech and IBM SkillsBuild is for you. This is really a platform for all learners to really get exposed to the types of skills and the types of emerging technologies that are shifting the world of work and are going to help students understand how to navigate the workplace when they're done with their secondary education. So the content is all self-paced. You can log on as an individual student using existing Gmail, Microsoft, Facebook, LinkedIn logins and have access to the full catalog. You can also access it as a student enrolled in a class or in a summer program. And we have teacher resources available on the platform for educators to leverage this platform with their students. You do not have to be a subject matter expert in AI or in blockchain to use OpenPTech or IBM SkillsBuild as a teacher. You can use our teacher-facing resources, our lesson plans, our tutorials. You can take the same content that your students are learning about on the platform and really create a experience that helps you and the students learn alongside each other and really push each other's own learning on new cutting edge topics like blockchain, quantum computing, and more. And as I mentioned before, this is introductory and product agnostic. So we're not giving students training relevant for IBM products or IBM tools. This is, if you learn about our cloud, you learn cloud through our platform, you're going to be able to leverage those skills with AWS, with Microsoft Azure, with IBM's cloud. It really is very transferable and it is cross company in terms of the relevance of it. Just to get a little bit more behind the scenes in terms of our content, we have a mix of unique content that you can only find on our platform that we've created, as I mentioned before, for a high schooler and a teacher audience. And we also have done a lot of curation. So it's a very broad catalog at this point. You can find over 75 hours of self-paced trackable content on those unique courses that earn badges. And you can find over 200 additional courses that have been curated from across the web so that you don't have to do, as a student or a teacher, as much work finding, what's the best way to start programming, or what's the best way to learn how to create a podcast, what some really interesting and relevant content on diversity, equity, and inclusion, particularly with the workplace in mind. Those are all things that we've curated and we've pulled into our platform. And when we do that kind of curation, you can see it's all grouped between technical skills and professional skills, something that I'll show. There's a lot of very broad topics that we know are just of interest to teens, like how do you, think about visual design. We have a course that we created with Adobe on basic principles of design. How do you think about leveraging audio for music production? We have that on our platform as well. And then all of these courses, not all of them, but a good number of them do lead to badges that I mentioned before. And so these are just some suggestions of the different types of digital badges that we offer. If you've never applied for a job before and you're intimidated by that experience, you can come and take the course that we built with NAF on preparing for your first job. It will tell you how to build a professional social media profile and presence online. It will tell you how to do effective research on the types of jobs and companies that you should target, how to create a professional resume if you've never actually created that before, how to interview, particularly in a virtual setting when you're just sitting in front of a computer, and sort of eliminate a lot of the intimidation factor that comes with that. And you get a digital badge after you're done with that particular course. Professional skills is one where we hit on things like collaboration, critical and creative thinking, the ability to present well, the ability to stay timely and flexible in your deliverables. That's another 8-hour course that results in a digital badge. We also have a lot of technical topics that you can earn digital badges on, like data science, cloud fundamentals, cybersecurity fundamentals, and more. And as I mentioned before, if you're interested in things like design or even design thinking, or you just want to get probed and just introduced to something like blockchain, which you've maybe seen because you know all this topics in the news about Dogecoin and Bitcoin and things of that nature, you can take Basic Principles Design course with Adobe. You can take our Blockchain 101 course and really just have a good foundation of things that you may be passionate about or maybe hearing about in the news. And then when you have that, you can add those credentials, as I mentioned, to your LinkedIn profiles. We have students from across the country and really across the world sharing their credentials that they're earning on this platform, and it's helping them build eminence on LinkedIn. And obviously, as young people who are in high school, who do not have an actual professional portfolio, this is a really good way to start building that digital eminence and to get on the radar of colleges, universities, and temporary employers who are looking for interns, who are looking for pre-apprentices. IBM is one of those companies, and so it's a really good way to just start building the habits that students are going to need to really access new job markets in the near future. Just a couple snapshots from our users, particularly our teacher users. There's a lot of comments that we hear all the time about the grab and go nature of the platform, about how I am very intimidated as an educator in teaching things like AI or teaching cloud computing. Like even computer science teachers, that's not part of the AP curriculum. So a lot of the comments that we hear are how relevant and how easy to use the platform is, and how the fact that students can just come in and start taking courses really frees up the teacher to focus on pedagogy and help students synthesize what they're learning as opposed to being the masters of the content. And the real world connections are also something we hear very frequently from community college professors, from high school teachers, etc. The fact that we're really connecting the concepts that they're learning about to jobs and giving them exposure to the types of careers that they can access in STEM fields and the practices that all professionals really need to be applying in whatever they choose to do.
There seems to be a question in the chat about pricing.
It is entirely free. So there's no pricing involved in this whatsoever. So everything is totally free. And I'll talk more about how to get school level access to the platform, which is also totally free. But we'll talk through some of those details as we get to the end of this. Thank you, and feel free to interrupt me at any point with any additional questions. Now is a very good time to get students onto the platform because we're in the middle of our Summer SkillsBuild Challenge. This is an opportunity for students to earn prizes over the course of 6 weeks. So we actually just kicked off our SkillsBuild challenge on this past Wednesday, but you are more than welcome to continue adding students to the challenge over the course of the next 6 weeks. It's really the type of thing where all you have to do is get your students signed up and we take care of the rest. So students get a weekly email at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. It really tells them what they need to do for that particular week. And the first 100 students to complete those challenge will, the challenge each week will win some sort of IBM swag. So whether it be a t-shirt, hoodie, notebook, etc., we're issuing prizes every week, and students can participate for the full 6 weeks and earn a certificate from IBM that they can then put on their LinkedIn profiles. All you have to do is complete 4 out of the 6 weeks to earn that, and there are opportunities to win every single week individually. Just to give you a flavor of what those challenges look like, the current one that we're running this week is really very simple. You just have to log in, create your account, sign up for notifications, and finish at least 1 hour of approved content. So that can be anything from our catalog, but you just have to do 1 hour. And then post about it in our forum that we have connecting students to each other on the platform. Week 2, complete a 3-hour badge course. We'll give you 4 options to choose from as we get closer to that particular opportunity. Weeks 3 and 4 are engagement challenges, really helping students reflect online, share their insights of what they're learning with others in our global community. Week 5 is completing a 6 to 7 hour badge. So if you participate in the full experience here, students will get 2 digital badges that they can add to their resumes. And then the last one is really just, again, sharing insights from those 2 badge courses and what they've learned over the course of the summer, and then promoting it on social. So relatively low lift for a summer enrichment opportunity, but a really good way to get students exposed, sort of breaking away from the doldrums of the past year of remote learning and helping them focus on something that is more future oriented and will set them up well for their post-secondary planning.
There was a question about, do students automatically receive the badges, or is it evaluated and then released? She's trying to avoid student hacks.
No, that's a great question. I can show that as we get into the demo here. They are automatically issued after you pass assessments. So there are checkpoints in each one of our badge courses. You would never be able to earn a badge without passing the assessments that we have with at least 80%. And the courses, as you'll see when I demo this, are lengthy enough, and the assessments are variable enough to where it would be honestly more challenging for a student to hack the system and it would be for them to actually learn the content. It is all automated in the sense that there's no human reviewer here. It's all based on passing different checkpoints over the course of earning a badge with, again, 80%. But as long as you are doing that, it is very easy to earn the badge, and it does prove the fact that you have a certain baseline level of knowledge that is earning you that badge. It's a question we've gotten very frequently since we launched this.
Excellent.
So let me show the platform. So Terry, just keep me honest if you are seeing what I am articulating. So First of all, when you first come to Open P-Tech, and again, as of July 7th, this will just be rebranded IBM SkillsBuild for Students. You can see there are several different login options. You can use your existing accounts at all of these different providers. By the end of the summer, we're going to have a create your own account option if that's what you prefer. If you're using Google Classroom, if you're using Google Classroom, it's very easy. You just log in with Google. If you're using a custom student email address right now, the best way to create an account is to log in with IBM and just register that email address to an IBM ID. But once you've done that, you're in, and it keeps all your password information with IBM. When you've logged in, this is what the platform looks like to an educator. So I want to highlight that because the view is almost identical for students as it is for educators, with a couple of exceptions that I will talk through. If you are a student, you're not going to see this drop down for educators. You all, if you get admin access, which I'll talk through how to do before we break today, you'll have this tab called For Educators. And there's a few things that I'll show towards the end of the demo that are worth noting. But I want to start with just the teacher toolkit, because we spent a lot of time listening to educators over the last year, understanding what sort of things they care about, what's going to be really beneficial to create in order to support them. And what we've learned is that we've created sort of how-to guides for everything that you need to get admin access, from getting your students a custom registration URL, leveraging our reports in the system, which you can see by clicking on your team, and also just understanding what content is most relevant to student users. So we have content on sort of our top 10 topics that people tend to use, from AI to intro to tech to professional skills to preparing for your first job. All that is curated, and there's very specific links for the teacher-facing content and the student-facing content on the platform. Of course, right now, our page is taking too long to load, so I can't show that to you. I promise you that in normal circumstances, that is a very fast, normal website that you can access at any point in time. So just to show you what some of this administrative capability looks like when you are active as an admin system and you have students who have registered, you'll see dashboard reporting like this, where you have the student's name, their email address, how many hours they've completed, the number of badges they've earned, and you can get detailed reports just by clicking on the individual student if this is of interest to you. So you can see what badges they've earned, you can see what content they've completed, what content they've started but is still in progress. So there's a lot of really good dashboard and metrics that you can find just by going into your team section under the educators tab here. And again, I'll talk through how to get configured in that way, but you can see, these are badges that they have queued up but have not started yet. These are ones that are in progress. It'll show you the percentage completed, and then you can see sort of what they've completed down towards the bottom. And then we have these sort of gamified tiers of learning. You're a super learner if you have at least 15 hours in the calendar year, elite for 30, so on and so forth. And there's certain incentives that you get access to when you reach those different milestones. And so this shows all the completions that they've had for the particular year, the number of badges for this year, etc. So a lot of really good insights. You can also track team completion. So if I want to see which of my students have completed the Intro to Cloud course, I could type that in. I could select this particular channel, and then it will show me all the different actions that my team in the system have taken on this particular course. It'll give me all my different students' names. If they haven't done anything, it will look blank like it does here. If they have done things, it will look like what it did before, where it will say completed 1 out of 4 courses or 25%. So it's really good insights for particular courses as well. And you can do that for anything that we have in the catalog, should you want to drive your students to particular content in the platform. So I know, understandably, you're asking yourselves, what does the content actually look like? There's a number of ways to get to the particular content that may be of interest to you. You could click our course catalog from the home landing page and see our content organized in different topics here. So for you as educators, again, students will not see this. You can see our teacher resources for the different topic areas that we have here. You can see for students and for you all, the technical skills that we have here, the workplace skills that we have, and finally, the content that doesn't fit neatly into the technical or workplace skill buckets, but are certainly of interest and important to students. So sustainability, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the ability to learn how to really manage your money. These are things that are very relevant that we know students are interested in. So we're continuing to curate and create content around those particular things. But if we go into, let's say, artificial intelligence, you're going to see a number of different things here. You'll see recommended badges that we offer on the platform, and then you'll see recommended learning. And I always suggest starting with the recommended learning. This is sort of the getting started course. So it's very fundamental in nature. It's content that we have created specifically for a high school audience in mind. Anybody, regardless of your interest, can benefit from this. And if you click on the what is artificial intelligence, and then click this blue button, you'll be launched into the course. And this is the case for a lot of our introductory course content. And I'll show you what sort of the intro to tech badge looks like in a second here. But the courses all follow this particular structure. So it'll open up in a new window when you click on it from the platform. it will show you the different modules or activities that comprise this particular course topic. And then you can click on Introduction. You can see it's very bite-sized text that's written at a 10th grade reading level, written with a student in mind. And then we have a video that queues up AI in 101 seconds, explaining it at a very 50,000 foot level. You click I've checked it out, you get credit for those 3 minutes of learning. And so that is consistent with the rest of these modules. You can see they're time-stamped. There's metadata that basically says how long we think this should take a student to complete. Again, we have sort of a video here. We have a reflection where you're testing student knowledge. And then we have a chatbot that you can actually link out to and play with. And we know that students have really enjoyed doing this. It's a really cool way to sort of mimic human interaction through a chatbot. Click, I've checked it out, keep going. I'm not gonna go module by module here, but you can see the idea. There's a mix of text, video, and then application. And to the question from earlier around sort of gaming the system while you earn the badge, this is another way just to show the assessment component of this. So before you actually check what you know or show what you know, there's reviews of the different language that are covered in the particular course. And then you could actually download those if you would like as a glossary. If you click Let's Play, this particular course has more of a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style where you get lifelines. Other courses will have direct questions that are multiple choice that don't have the lifeline components. There's different sort of assessment tools that we have. But you can see that, if I were to try and game the system, you could, try to choose an answer, click final answer, see that you get it right. If you get them wrong and you don't get 8 out of 10, the questions do reshuffle. So again, it really makes a lot more sense if you're trying to just earn the credential to actually learn the content, because the questions do shuffle, the choices shuffle. So you really have to know what you are answering as you go through this. And as you continue going, you have to get at least 8 out of 10 correct in order to get credit for that particular part of the module. And while this module in and of itself is not going to earn you a badge, if I go to this particular tab, back in the platform, I click recommendations, I go to badge courses. You can see all of the content we have available that actually leads to a digital badge. And it's organized by technical skills, workplace skills in different buckets. This Exploring Emerging Tech badge is a great way to start on OpenPTech because it takes all of the intro courses like the one I just showed on artificial intelligence. It puts it in one place. And if you complete all of them, you will earn a Intro to Tech badge. So you can see here, we just were looking at the What is Artificial Intelligence course. Artificial intelligence in practice is just applying like AI in the real world and giving students exposure to how AI is actually used in our day-to-day lives. But the structure is the same across all these modules. You have sort of the student-friendly text, the video, the reflection questions, and then the assessment. And you have to pass every one of these checkpoints with 80% in order to earn the full badge. You can retake it as many times as you want, but like I said before, the question shuffle, there's more questions in the bank than the number of questions you have to answer. So it'd be very difficult to game the system in the process. But you can see that just by taking this 7-hour badge course, you're going to have very basic knowledge of all of these important tech topics, from cloud to AI, cybersecurity, data science, blockchain, and Internet of Things. So it's a great way for all students to really get exposed to the emerging technologies that are changing the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis, changing how society functions. And it's not something where you have to know that you're interested in programming or coding in order to be accessing the content at the right level.
So there was a question about teachers creating student accounts without any vetting, like student emails.
So let me come back into the room and just, so that's a great question. So we collect very minimal personally identifying information, but we do need an email. And the reason why we need an email is directly related to the conversation around badges. Because that badge credential belongs to the student, it gets issued to their student email address. And so in order to get access to OpenPTech/IBM SkillsBuild for students, we do need student email addresses. Teachers are welcome to, give us student emails, but I know a lot of districts have problems with that. So the way we get around that, and this is not something I've covered yet, is we can register you as an educator, as an admin, and generate a custom registration URL for you to then share with your students through your learning management system, through direct email to your students, whatever way is best for you. But that custom URL, if the student clicks on it and actually signs up for the platform, they're automatically joined to your school and to your admin account in the system. That's how you see the pieces that I was showing earlier around your students and your team. We don't have to necessarily collect all the email addresses and names in advance. You can disseminate your custom registration URL to them directly, then they sign up and they are consenting to certain terms and conditions in the process. We also have a process where if your district wants to use OpenPTech/IBM SkillsBuild for students across the whole district and your high school portfolio, we have data privacy agreements that we have come to in many different cases. So you can always reach out to our team just to jumpstart that process if you'd like it to be beyond just a particular classroom use case. You're more than welcome to do that too. So I'm going to go back out and just show a couple more things. So more just around the different badges that you can earn. Again, this is part of the top line navigation within the platform. You can see the different badge courses that we offer here. One of the more interesting aspects is the fact that this is not just tech. This is very relevant to workplace skills too. So we have this content on professional skills, preparing for your first job. We created a course with the University of Oxford Mindfulness Center on mindfulness, which is one of our shortest badge courses, but one of our most popular just because it's a really great way to help students get centered and sort of practice mindful habits as they're entering into the workplace. And then we have agile project management, which is very relevant across industry, and then enterprise design thinking, which is really just how you empathize with the people you're trying to serve, whether it be in industry or whether it be, through community service project. There's a lot of really great application with enterprise design thinking as well that you can access in the platform. Students can always just search for content here if they're trying to browse. And I think the last thing that I would say is just as you are thinking about using this, you are welcome to just go to open.ptech.org and sign up for a account yourself. Just indicate that you're an educator. You'll get access to the educator content. If you want to sign up your students, you are welcome to reach out to, I'm putting this in the chat, advisor@ptech.org, and just say, I'd like an admin account for my school. And so there's a number of different ways that you can get levels of access. Everybody is welcome to go here right now and sign up for an account. You'll see all of our content. You'll see the teacher-facing resources there as well. But like I said, if you want to get your students onto the platform, you want to be able to see what they are doing in the platform, just contact advisor@ptech.org and we'll get you set up within 24 hours. I think it's important to say that this is a platform that has been openly available since March of 2020. We have almost 500,000 users on the platform, and a lot of those are educators and students. So we have many different use cases across the globe of things that work, ways that teachers are using this, ways students are benefiting from it. So you can always visit our site, open.ptech.org, on July 7th. Like I mentioned before, that's going to shift over to IBMSkillsBuild.org. But there will be a lot of success stories, just ways that you can get different levels of access if you're a school, if you're an individual teacher. A lot of useful sort of marketing and enablement materials that you can find there. The last thing that I would say around summer challenge is if you are running a summer program and you would like to get your students just using it signed up, come to the page that I'm about to put in the chat. You bear with me.
Fans today. This has been really great.
Glad to hear it. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. Appreciate you bearing with me. So this is the link that I just put in the chat. This is, again, like the platform's open. You can sign up anytime you want. I'm pushing this currently because if you get on within the next 6 weeks, your students will have a chance to actually earn prizes. And so you can come to this interest form as the educator of record. It takes you about 30 seconds to fill out the information here. Once we get this information, we register you automatically as an admin. So this is just another way to get your school signed up, your individual students signed up. You'll get that custom registration URL that you can then send to your students. And once they sign up, they're enrolled. They're going to get the emails that queue up the challenges each particular week. And they'll have the opportunity to sort of, get acquainted with the platform, have a different type of learning experience over the summer that is really future focused while earning prizes along the way. So this is all you have to do is come to this particular link, fill out the form, and then we will do the rest for you as long as you are sharing that custom URL with students. That's the biggest thing is obviously, we're on summer vacation. Students may not be paying attention to their email. You may just want to be, going to a beach somewhere. I hope after the year that we've had, everybody gets some sort of well-earned vacation. But we're just offering this as a way before you go to make sure your students are aware of something that can really benefit them this summer in terms of enrichment. So I think I've covered the primary key points here. Let me just show one last slide that is not all that interesting, but is important for people just to have a contact.
There was a question about, do you have to be active throughout the summer in order for the students to participate?
That is a great question, and the answer is definitively no. We are really conscious of the year that educators have had in 2020, 2021, and we know that many educators are going to be, trying to be away for the summer, which is why students and teachers do not have to be active the entire time at all. Students need to be active for 4 out of the 6 weeks if they want that IBM certificate. But you can participate in 1 week, you can participate in all 6, and you as an educator don't have to take any active role aside from just getting your students registered. We'll automate the as long as students are checking their email, they'll have all the information they need. So it is up to you. If you want to be using this with summer enrichment that you're already running, great. We have a lot of, as I mentioned before, teacher-facing content that can be used for that particular purpose without you having to create your own lesson plans. But if you want to just use this in general, have your students, use it on an individual basis, that is totally fine as well. And my colleague, Brittany Kane, is our digital success manager, and she can be your point of contact if you want just a more individualized outreach approach for your district or your particular school. Feel free to reach out to her, brittany.kane@ibm.com. And then, as I mentioned before, if you are looking for admin access, but you don't want to do the summer challenge, just email us at advisor@ptech.org to get access. But again, our primary goal here is trying to get as many students and educators onto the platform as possible, which is totally and completely free, because we know the rate of change with technology is just moving incredibly fast. And we want as many students, particularly those from historically underserved backgrounds, to really have access to the skills of the future. And so please definitely visit open.ptech.org. If you're watching this after July 7th, it's skillsbuild.org. Check out the different content that we have, and really feel free to reach out to us with tips, questions, etc., around how to use this most effectively with your students.
There seems to be some issues with the site. It's just spinning. The summer link will not open.
I think there's something going on with our WordPress server this morning. So check back in an hour, and I can assure you that will be a non-issue.
Okay, Great.
I was experiencing that earlier. It eventually loaded. I don't know why it's doing that. It has not done that for as long as I can remember, checking the site every day. So apologies for that being the case today. But yeah, just.
Oh, you're right. Someone's saying it's working now.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, maybe on a Monday morning and during needs some time to wake up, but that is not usually the case. So feel free to continue visiting that if you're running into any issues.
The question will be, there's a question from Stacy. Will the link be different in the fall?
Yeah, so the marketing site is going to be ibmskillsbuild.org, but you all don't need to worry about that. There's going to be automatic redirects from open.ptech.org. So as long as you have one of the URLs, it's going to work. So you don't have to memorize any of these particular things as long as you just have open.ptech.org.
Awesome. Any other questions for Cliff? And I'm going to put a link to the YouTube channel where you can find the recordings of this session and all the sessions from the summit.
That's great.
So we still got about 4 minutes. So if anyone else has any questions, please ask. Thank you, Stacy.
Yes, thank you, Stacy. I'll hang out if you do have any questions. If you're even trying to access the site right now and there's things that are coming up, feel free to reach out. Glad to hear, Sandra, that you're planning, thinking about long-term planning this summer or thinking about using OpenPTech this summer. I hope more than anything that it can be useful to you. Again, totally free, and a great way just to start career exploration with your students in a more meaningful fashion.
Middle school daughter do it this summer, actually.
Nice. I like it. How old is she?
She's 13. She's getting ready to go into the 8th grade. So I think this is a great time for her to, and she's already kind of curious about this. Obviously I've exposed her to stuff since she was young, but I try not to bombard her with it. I want her to make her own decisions about which lane she wants to go in, but still educate her about these things. And she's interested now, so that's good.
The natural tension we all navigate as parents.
Yes, yes, exactly. I can't force her to be me.
Exactly. Yeah, Intro to Tech is a good one for her to start with. I think, as we're just still hanging out here, the content has been, as I said before, created for like the broad range of 13 to 20. Within that, some of the more technical badges are definitely better for sort of your 17, 18-year-old audience. But there are ones that are great for sort of your rising 8th grader, first time into high school type of student. And the Intro to Tech badge, the basic principles of design, mindfulness, those are really good ones to just build out a starting point for.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Cliff. This was awesome.
Great to be with you this morning. Enjoy the rest of the conference, everybody.
I just posted the YouTube link for the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to access the recordings for all the sessions this week. Usually we have it ready by the end of the week, so be patient with us. There's a lot of videos to load up, and they're really long. All righty. Well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to head back to the stage. And you're welcome to stay and see the other sessions if you have time. I know you're a busy man, Cliff.
I appreciate it, Terry. Thank you, everybody, again.
Thank you. You have my email if you need anything.
Yep, likewise.
Okay.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.